And welcome on in to another episode of Healthy Discussion. And we're going to talk about this remote working. Is remote working really productive? Because I remember throughout the pandemic, right? You know how you had to call the bank for this, call the bank for that, XYZ, right? And it was very difficult for them to keep it professional. Did anyone experience that? Leave your thoughts down below. The people that work from home, yes, it was good for them, but was it good for the entire business module? And that's what we're going to dive into today. Now, I have a take from CNBC, but we're going to analyze this and we're going to react to it. And I want your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, most importantly, share the video. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. But watch this. Watch this.
This is how corporate America feels about remote work in 2023.
Listen.
The laptop class is living in La La Land. It's messed up to assume that yes, they have to go to work, but you don't. It's not just a productivity thing. I think it's morally wrong. What is it? It doesn't work for young kids. It doesn't work for spontaneity. It doesn't really work for management.
See?
This is how the corporate world felt about remote work in 2020 during the height of COVID-19.
The biggest advantages, I think, are access to large pools of talent who don't live around the big cities and aren't willing to move.
Since we've all been forced into being remote now for 9 months, I think we've realized that if you have somebody in a particular location who's willing to work the hours to be able to collaborate, you can do it very effectively. So it's changed how we thought about hiring.
Let's
Facts.
here. Notice something.
Hold on.
In fewer than 3 years, corporate leaders have...
And you heard what he said. You heard what Mark Zuckerberg said. Elon said. It's not really productive. Yes, it may be okay for the business owner because it's less people inside of the office. But you got to think about it. When business owners rent out office spaces, right, they get a tax write-off for that office space. So I think it's going to mess up their module. So to send you home, but are you really productive at home? That's the trade-off. I don't really think you as productive at home as you in the workforce. That's just like me going outside and instead of having a uniform. See, it's psychology is different. When you wear a uniform, you're most likely productive. It's a sense of duty, a sense of responsibility. When you wear what you want to wear, they did this experiment in school. When you wear what you want to wear, you pay less attention, you're less focused. It's all these negative attributes. You into yourself too much instead of being into what's in front of you or what's being taught or reciprocated. So I understand the psychology of actually having a professional realm, because they did the same analogy with schools. If you had to wear a uniform, it was less BS to happen. You didn't feel left out. If you didn't have to wear a uniform, then that's when all the BS started happening. Smash that like button if you understand. But let's continue.
Approach to remote work. And it seems like this tactic has been working. The latest data from the Census Bureau found that fewer than 26% of U.S. households still have someone working from home. That's down from 37%
Watch the stats.
in early 2021.
So the reason we're having this entire conversation about remote work dying is, first of all, because we kept thinking that we were going to bounce back to quote unquote normal.
No.
The pandemic started and we had people working
This
from
is the
home.
new norm.
The idea was this is very temporary and we were all going to come back.
So really what's changed the discussion about remote work is the slowdown in the labor market.
Listen, guys,
There are a lot
leave
of
your thoughts
employers
down
out
below.
there who had suspicions about remote work from the start. And you can see that kind of by the timing of when people actually went to being remote during the start of the pandemic.
Yes,
So
you
the
can.
concerns that employers had about remote work were present all during the Great Reshuffle, but they didn't really have much
They
of a
call it the
choice.
Great
But
Reshuffle.
with the emergency orders
Call it the new
expiring
world.
for the pandemic this year, now they can actually start to bring people back and address some of those concerns that they might have about productivity.
So what's your thoughts, people? What's your thoughts? Do you think that going inside the office makes you more productive? And be honest. Or comfortability doesn't make you more productive? Working outside of the office. I want to know. I want to hear it from both sides. I really want to know what you think. Leave your thoughts down below. Let's continue. And also leave where you from down below too. Like, who's tuning in? You from Texas? You from overseas? I got some Australian audience. I have some New York audience, some Chicago audience, some California audiences. Where you from? Some Dubai audience, the things I talk about. So drop your not drop your location, drop your city, your state, your continent. Just for engagement purposes. Drop your, so y'all can talk amongst each other. Drop that down below. On that note, let's continue.
Thrust upon us basically by the pandemic. Before the pandemic, remote work was pretty rare, so about 5% of days. We were forced to work from home. You know, all managers and professionals were basically fully remote for much of 2020, and then it turned out it's worked really well.
Such as no commute, working in your sweatpants, doing your laundry between Zoom calls. But
Convenience.
also just the savings in terms of time, in terms of money, in terms of your commute, in terms of being able to spend more time with your children or pick them up from school. People
I have something to say. Now, who really saved? You saved the money, right? But if you don't go outside and go to work every day, then the state itself not making any money. The city isn't making any money. So by you commuting, traffic stops, tickets, the police, everything else, it's all an ecosystem. So I think it's time for the states and it's time for people to get back to making their money. Leave your thoughts down below. I want to know. But let's continue. Reaction video.
To continue communications together and to keep collaborating together in whatever tools they could invest in to support that work and that teamwork.
Okay.
As the world slowly started to open up, corporate America began to change its tune on remote work. So much so that some firms now even threaten to fire their employees if they don't show up at work.
Zoom,
Whoa.
this is now throwing
Got too comfortable, huh?
remote work.
Even Zoom, the video conferencing company that helped make the remote work boom happen in the first place, is also taking a hard
Boom
line
and
to
bust.
return to office.
Boom and bust
Rough
cycles.
shift from last year, when suggesting a majority of its employees would work a hybrid schedule with just 2% working in person full time.
So some of the pushback remote work is driven by concerns about productivity. There have been some experimental studies.
Leave your
that
thoughts
show
down below.
Some productivity impact potentially from remote work. But those studies are also experiments, right? It's unclear how they apply to the broader labor force.
Look at the
United
numbers.
States does have a productivity problem. Before the second quarter of this year,
You heard what they just said, and look at the data. Look at the data. The United States has a productivity problem. Ain't nothing made in the USA last time I checked. Everything made in China, Taiwan, every place but the United States. Why is that? The only thing the United States produced to me is obesity, cancer, death, agony. Yes, it may be a plethora of opportunities, but that's what's in the air. That's what's honestly in the air. It's time for America to be productive again. I see why Trump said, make America great again. Oh, it makes sense. Because this nation was great, and I don't know what happened. I guess some people started to infiltrate, and then that's when the corruption started. The integrity was lost. The trust flew out the window. But let's continue. Leave your thoughts down below.
year declines in worker productivity. In fact, a major study that Professor Nicholas Bloom co-authored found that fully remote work led to productivity declines of about 10 to 20% when compared to fully in-person work.
Now, the other important thing in the study is we pointed out, look, what firms care about ultimately is profitability. And it turns out that if you have an employee that's remote, you also save a lot of costs. So
that part.
10% less overhead.
So listen, that's the trade-off. If you're an owner, right, then it may be more profitable for you to have remote workers. There's less money you have to pay out. If you're not an owner and you're the worker, then it may be in your best interest to be comfortable and to be consumed by convenience. You can work in your pajamas, work without getting dressed, put on a shirt, still have your gym wear on, your pearls on. So it's two sides to the story right here, but we all know it's three sides. Let's continue. Smash that like button if you agree. Subscribe to the channel and leave them thoughts down below.
Folks, maybe last year internationally, maybe save another 20, 30, 40%. Remote workers, they may be 5% less productive, but they are so much cheaper that it's profitable for firms to have many teams, many employees remote.
If you're coming up with
So my thing would then be this, right? Do you think that these companies, right? Because remember, they do job cuts and all these other things. Why? To increase their what? Profit margins. Type of profit margins down below. They do all these cuts to increase their profit margins, right? So it will be more favorable for you to work remotely, or at least have a hybrid system, whereas though it's 3 days, 4 days in the office, and then 2 days home. It's a hybrid system now. I think that will work. Just for both parties. But eventually, I don't think they're going to need too many people working at all. The industries are changing. Every industry has been disrupted. Leave your comments down below. What industry are you in? And what are the daily problems are you facing? And are you making profit on these problems? If so, email me. But let's continue.
For people to return to work. I'd like
and if not, email me too.
Like when people were all working from home, when you're not allowed to have any face-to-face worker at all, right? So now you're spinning it in your favor. So I'd like to challenge that.
If the employee can perform their duties and handle their responsibilities, they should be encouraged to work from wherever makes them feel as excited about life as possible.
It's a lot of if and then statements though.
I was in North Dakota in February. I've been up and down the coast.
Notice he stated if your employee is responsible, if your employee understands how to focus, is not distracted, then yes. But it's a lot of if then. What if your employee aren't focused? What if they're actually more focused with people around them or AI technologies around them monitoring who does the work? Because I noticed something. If you allow people to slack or leave room for people to do things, they do it. If you don't leave any room for them to do anything, they don't do it. But let's continue.
Our national park,
let's discuss.
For me, that's where I feel best working, and that's where I've gotten my best work done. I believe we can work from anywhere.
Great point. Great point. Valid point.
My name is Susan Parazuli. I used to work for JP Morgan and Chase. It was all remote.
We all know they got cut.
Once they changed their policy to come to office, that was in Plano, Texas, but I live in California. So I decided not to move out there because of my kids. I have 2 school-going kids. I have to manage work-life balance as well.
Okay.
That's the reason why I quit my job. JP Morgan had given me 45 days of time frame to find another job. And I applied for some other companies and found a remote job with Leidos. So I have been working remotely with Leidos as a senior system analyst.
Technology.
Parajali is not alone in his choice to quit rather than return to an office setting. Finding a fully remote job, though, is getting more challenging. New research from Indeed found that job postings are declining faster in metropolitan areas where many jobs can be done remotely. A similar trend is playing out on LinkedIn as well.
So on LinkedIn last year, we saw that about 1 in 7 jobs were remote, and now that's down to about 1 in 11. But over this time, we've also seen an inversion. Now we see about 1 in 7 jobs being hybrid, coming up from 1 in 11 last year. So we're seeing more folks coming back into the office, but they are not coming back into the office 5 days a week.
Many employers are strong
hybrid
in their team members, and that they would love remote work to die faster.
Okay.
As a result, I do see that remote work is quote unquote slowly dying and becoming more competitive to get.
Facts.
The pandemic-induced shift to remote work has raised concerns about the future of commercial real estate, especially office spaces. The latest report from McKinsey Global Institute suggests that remote work threatens to erase $800 billion from the value of office real estate in 9 major cities around the world. Other experts say the empty offices created by remote work in various cities are also leading to what's been called the, quote, urban doom loop.
The problem does start with the office demand, right? And we've seen with the advent of remote work and hybrid work a dramatic reduction in office demand over these past 3 years. that has led to rising vacancy rates, and in fact to all-time high vacancy rates in the office market right now. And that does put downward pressure on the valuations of these offices.
This is the thing though. This is the thing though. What did they do with I'm noticing this. Mostly commercial real estate, like as far as office buildings or whatever, a lot of them are being converted into residential. They are being converted into the renters market, because we all know the renters market is going to boom. Next year, they're going to price you out on getting a home. They're already doing the FHA loans, 90-day to close. These hedge funds and these developers are pricing everybody out. It seems as if everyone's working together. So if the mortgage rates, right? If the mortgage rates go down, then the taxes is going to go up. Therefore, you priced out automatically. And then the policies are changing. So it's going to be harder than ever before to get a house. Smash that like button if you agree. Also, you got to understand the conversion rate. These office spaces are being converted into rental properties. Just pay attention. Why is there so many rental properties being built? Because anyone answer that question and riddle me this? They're not going to build something, right, and expect nothing. I was told if you build it, they will come. Like, reshare, recycle this. I was told if you build it, they shall come. But let's continue. What do you think is going on with these office spaces? Non-occupied. They either going to turn them to renters, renting units and or hotels. Same indifference. Same indifference. But let's continue. Still renting.
20, 30% already. They're likely to fall by more. And that causes...
They said they're likely to fall by more. But the thing is, what does that cause? It caused a problem. And then there's a problem, what? We get the profit. So I'm going to leave the link down below. Look at the CNBC video and leave your thoughts down below too as well. Like, I really want to know what you think about it. Also down below, let me know what you rather. Would you rather work in the office? Would you rather work remotely? Or would you rather work hybrid? Put a 1 in the chat if you rather work remotely. Put a 2 in the chat if you rather work hybrid. Or put a 3 in the chat if you rather work in the office. 1 in the chat remotely. 2 in the chat hybrid. 3 in the chat if you want to go back to what it was and you actually think it's more productive in the office. On that note, subscribe, like, share this content. If I brought value to you to this day, onto you to this day. And don't forget, positivity over negativity, always. Can we talk about it? I just want to talk about it. Another healthy discussion.